Israel and Hamas have resumed fighting in Gaza after the 7-day ceasefire expired.
The Israeli military has accused Hamas, which is designated a terrorist group by the UK, of violating the terms of the truce agreement.
110 hostages held in Gaza were exchanged for 240 Palestinian prisoners during the pause in fighting, as our Middle East correspondent Hugo Bashega reports.
After 55 days, together again. Mia Shem, who's 21, welcomed back by her family. Another hostage freed from Gaza. This is her mother, Karen, speaking days before her release.
I just want her back now. You know, our life would never be the same. But we will be all right. The minute she will be here, we'll be fine.
The truce between Israel and Hamas has now expired. The wait for the families of the captives continues. Visiting the region, the U.S. Secretary of State had this message.
I made clear that before Israel resumes major military operations, it must put in place humanitarian civilian protection plans that minimize further casualties of innocent Palestinians.
Overnight, in the occupied West Bank, more Palestinian prisoners were freed from Israeli jails. Being back home doesn't mean the end of the suffering. Mohammed Nazal left jail on Monday, but he isn't yet totally free. Both of his hands were fractured in beatings by Israeli guards, he says. He now needs help to eat, drink, and go to the bathroom.
They arranged us so that the elderly prisoners were put in the back and the young in the front. They took me and started beating me. I was trying to protect my head, and they were trying to break my legs and my hands.
Mohammed says abuse of Palestinian prisoners was common in Israeli jails after the Hamas attacks. These are the bruises where, he says, guards used sticks, their feet, and dogs to assault them. Israel said it wasn't aware of those claims and that Palestinians are legally detained. Israel was the target of the Hamas attacks, but the pain is also being felt by Palestinians.
And we can speak to Hugo now from Jerusalem. Hugo, very good morning to you. This is a very significant day, isn't it? Because the temporary ceasefire has finished. It is over. What is happening on the ground?
Good morning, Charlie. So it is a little bit after 8 o'clock in the morning here, and the Israeli military has announced that it has resumed its offensive against Hamas in Gaza, and it has accused Hamas of violating the terms of that temporary ceasefire. And shortly before the pause in hostilities was set to expire, the Israeli military said it had intercepted a rocket that was launched from Gaza. Now, reports from the Hamas-run Interior Ministry suggest that there have been multiple areas of Gaza hit by Israeli airstrikes, and the Israeli army has confirmed that Israeli fighter jets are now striking targets across the territory. Now, we heard from a Palestinian source close to the negotiations that talks continue for an extension of this truce, even though fighting has resumed in Gaza. Now, obviously, this deal has led to the release of more than 100 hostages who are being held in Gaza, but more than 140 people remain in captivity in Gaza. So obviously the relatives and friends of those hostages are following these developments very closely. And also there are fears now that the humanitarian situation in Gaza could worsen amid shortages of basic supplies. For days we've been talking about the humanitarian crisis there for the population of Gaza.
Hugo, for the moment, thank you very much.